Well, hi, it's David and Jeannie. We're here. It is the end of the year, and we thought we'd kind of have a little talk about, our year in stained glass, and we need to do that.
Yeah,
Kind
I
of
like to.
evaluate how things went,
I
and
like to do it. I think the highlight of the year was, I think it was in
February.
February that we
Yeah,
put in the big windows in the Provo Airport terminal. That was a lot of fun.
yeah,
Just, getting them all ready, getting glass doctor to bring him in. And it's just fun watching him come in the door with these great big windows. And now every time we go to the airport or anytime we tell people about it when they're going to the airport, they can see those windows depicting Utah Lake, and I have cranes and ducks and even a
yeah.
little tiny red speck that depicts our daughter Sarah and her kayak as she goes every morning to go and pick up trash and enjoy Utah Lake on her little red kayak.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And it's interesting because uh, when we first got here to Provo and started doing stained glass, people would often ask us, well, where can we see some of your work?
Oh,
And none of it could be seen. I
yeah.
mean, we had some,
It's in
we have
people's
some really
houses.
great ones that are behind the Capitol in Salt Lake City, in a gated community.
Yeah.
So,
Can't get in.
yeah, you can't see it.
Yeah.
We can't even go see it.
Well, that's why, isn't it funny when people will say, oh, if you put your windows in my home, you will get so much business.
Yeah,
Think,
yeah.
oh, that's nice, but nobody but your family will see it.
I remember,
which is
I
nice.
remember guys who owned businesses and
Yeah.
felt like they had a lot of traffic going through their
Oh.
business, and they would make an offer, and I would try to politely turn them down
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
just
Well, we also did some other big window projects, well, for residences, but they were wonderful. We're so grateful for our son-in-law Greg, who helps us with framing and with installations, along with Glass Doctor with installations, and sometimes Window Monsters with installations. And we feel like we have kind of a good team set up to help us. But we've done, yeah, lots of windows for residences this
sure,
year.
yeah.
We've done a couple of good shows.
Oh yeah, we really did have fun with the $100 show this year. I think I focused too much on how profitable it was, and that took away some of the fun of it. And
Oh, that's sad.
yeah.
And was this year the Zion's Bank show?
No? Well, it was this year.
Yeah. Yeah, so
So
Zion's Bank show was fun. That's always a good show. And then little ones, Covey Center, we put out a Christmas table. The spiritual and religious show.
Oh yeah.
We got in that this
And,
year
and
and sold the piece that was in it. So that was
yeah,
that was
pretty-
quite
pretty
fun. Yes, and
And we did, as is typical, we did enter into the other show that they had,
Spring
and
Salon.
yeah, and they sent it back.
Yes, we were rejected once again. And David keeps telling me, why do you torture yourself? But I don't know.
Well,
It comes along again, and I feel like, oh, I know what to enter this year. It's going to get in. And one of these years,
well, it's just
Yeah.
not that important to me because you have to
it's
pay
just
for it.
fun. It's
You have
just
to
fun.
pay for it in order to get in.
Oh, yeah,
and
Sure. It's just part of the fun. We've had a couple of students this year who have started their own businesses.
Okay,
And which
yeah.
is kind of exciting for me that they loved stained glass so much that they wanted to do it. And one little gal has sold some things on, I think it's Etsy. And just this past weekend, and I haven't talked to her about it yet, but she had a pop-up show. in Salt Lake. So I am anxious to know how that went for her.
You know, there was a guy who really tried to advise us and was telling me one of the things you should not be doing is teaching people how to do stained glass, because you're creating competition.
Yeah, I remember.
And I remember him saying that and thinking, maybe it would be, but I don't know if I believe it.
But the people who buy from them are not the same people that buy from us.
Right.
So that's
Well, like
why I believe it.
Sydney does wonderful little pieces, but they're completely different than the kind
she
of.
loves to do animals and caricatures and stuff, and we do bigger windows. So
She did that Scream knife. Is that the name of the scary movie? Was Scream? Anyhow,
Yeah,
that
it
was
really good.
kind of interesting,
And her reference was a rug.
yeah.
Oh, speaking of references, just finished a window for a Christmas gift that is from our son-in-law's tattoo that he has on his arm.
Yeah.
And I figure, well, if he liked it well enough to put it on his skin, then he might like it well enough to put in a window. So be giving that to him soon, and we'll see if he likes that.
Yeah.
That was fun. There were such curvy little pieces that a lot of them I had to do on the saw.
Yeah.
But it had to be.
She let me help.
Oh, yes, I let him. I beg him to help. So, yeah, and as far as our business has gone, it has been very good. There's always more that we can do. You know, we've thought about writing another book.
Yeah.
We've
Unfortunately, Amazon used to put out they had a really good system where we could publish books really readily, and you could order one or two of them whenever you wanted a new one, and it was great. And now they don't do that anymore, and so we're going to have to find somebody else if we want to do it.
Yeah, but there are other self-publishing things out there, right?
Yeah. Now then, I did think it was noteworthy that we did that class for 40 students.
Yes,
Jeannie
for a company.
Jeannie and Sydney and I, all three of us, worked on it, and it was so great to have Sydney there, because
she's a former student still a student.
And we would I went over to help a guy who was really having a difficult time, and everybody at this table was aware of the fact that he was having a difficult time, because they work with each other on a regular basis, and they expected him to have a difficult time. And so when I got done showing him what to do, there was still some question. I could tell in his eyes that he wasn't real solid on what to do. And so I talked to Sydney. She had just finished with somebody else. I said, "See that guy over there? I think he could use some help." And she went over and just took care of him.
She's got a good attitude.
She was so nice and so kind to him. It was great.
Yeah.
It was a really good experience.
Well, it's a team building activity.
Yeah.
So I think that it did what it was supposed to do.
And it was 40 people, right?
Yeah. And then we did another activity for the Nakakui Festival.
Well, yeah, and you might have seen our video about that when we talked about.
That was fun. That was around Halloween time, and it was a volleyball tournament. And they had little booths of activities, and so Sydney and I went and did an activity where you could come and make a little stained glass star or something else that we had, I think a pumpkin. And that was, there weren't a lot of students that actually sat, because a lot of them you only had a few minutes in between volleyball games.
Okay.
And so, but a lot of people came by and, tried to figure out what we were doing, and were very interested. And so sometimes you just have to do activities like that to talk to people in the community. And that was very fun. It was a fundraiser for them, and so we were glad to be able to participate.
It was interesting. That advisor telling me not to teach classes, telling us not to teach classes, was so wrong. I mean, that's one of the things we love about stained glass, is getting a chance to meet.
Well, it's good to talk to mentors, but what we have learned is a lot of business mentors know business, but they don't know stained glass. If you have a business that you're starting, and go for it, and especially stained glass. Stained glass fluctuates. Sometimes it's popular, sometimes it's not.
Yes,
And
it's a roller coaster.
the roller coaster. And so, yeah, we just always want to keep it alive. It's a beautiful art, and it makes people happy to come here and build it for themselves, or just to have a window in their home.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. See you next week.